Hello friends, 'tis Ivory Pie, and here it is, another Digidoodle. This week's Digidoodle was chosen by patrons as In the Woods, and I am so excited to do this. I decided to do a little fox fawn girl with a little fox friend. I wanted to kind of play around with the background a little because I don't do backgrounds very often, so I'm pretty happy with how that came out. I'm very excited because this Friday, I have something super special for you all. I am doing a collab with the ever wonderful Hannah from Hannah Arts. That collab video will be going up this Friday, one on her channel and one on my channel, so please go check it out if you want a sneak peek at the finished piece. It is currently available for patrons on Patreon. So today, with school coming up, I thought I would tell you guys a few of the weird, silly stories that happened at school. Just because art school is super weird, and sometimes really weird things happen. Like someone glues a clay sculpture of a woman's breast to the ceiling, or someone steals a toilet from the bathroom as a performance art. And yes, both of the things I just mentioned actually happened while I was at school. Like I said, art school is really weird. So anyway, without further ado, here are some of the weirdest experiences in art school so far. I mean, I still have another 3 years to go, so here we go. So the first one is the story of Balloon Professor. So my first year of school, and the first semester, I had a professor who was really cool and awesome, but he pushed us really hard. And for some reason, when he wasn't there, some of my classmates felt like they didn't work as hard. And so they really wanted him there because they felt like they would work harder if our professor was watching while we were working. So their solution to this problem was to buy a bunch of balloons and blow them up and then do an extremely accurate portrait of our professor on one of them. Then give it a hoodie that had a sticker name tag that said Balloon Professor. So Balloon Professor stayed in the classroom for a while, but eventually it popped, and our professor never actually saw it. But when it popped, someone had made a little gravestone and put it on the shelf that read, "Here lies Balloon Professor, rest in peace." And it just sort of sat there for a long time, and nobody really noticed or mentioned it. But eventually, we were cleaning up for our final show, and our professor saw the gravestone and was like, what is that? And so we all awkwardly explained what the Balloon Professor was, and I'm honestly not sure if he was horribly creeped out or flattered by the Balloon Professor. To this day, I have no idea. It was probably some terrifying mixture of both. So my next story is the time that we did a performance piece wearing cardboard sculptures in the rain at an art museum. That's quite a title. So this is the same professor from the last one. This class was actually a different class though. This was second semester, and it was a class about wearable performance sculpture. It was actually super fun. I made one of my favorite things I've ever made in that class, which was my stained glass helmet. I love that piece so much. It came out really nice. Our first project for this class, though, was to make a wearable periscope, which we couldn't hold. It had to attach to us in some way, and it had to make us see 3 feet higher or lower than our heads. Oh, yawn! I'm tired! Thinking about going back to school. It makes me tired. So, yes, we had to make a periscope. Which was I made mine a helmet periscope, which was decorated with tendrils of cardboard that fluttered and moved when I walked. We could also only use cardboard, mirrors, and glue for this project, no other materials, and it had to somehow be aesthetically interesting. So that was how I made mine interesting. For mine, I really wanted to also play with distortion. So I made my mirror out of broken mirrors, which were skewed at different angles so that I couldn't quite see everything accurately. They were also super close to my face, which was really terrifying. I actually cut my fingers on the glass while I was making it, and that's why we don't play with broken glass. So we all had these cardboard, huge cardboard sculptures full of glass mirrors and held together with hot glue and hope. And when I say big, I mean really big. One girl built a submarine for hers. Not a functional one, but a fake submarine. It was really weird and really cool. And so, we find out that a performance for these pieces is we're going to have a scavenger hunt at the Nelson. And the Nelson is a museum right next to our school. And so we're all okay, I mean, I guess we can do that. So we all get ready and we put everything together, and it starts raining as soon as we go outside. and all of our pieces are made of cardboard. And like before we even walk to the Nelson, some of our pieces are falling apart. The straps on mine broke, so I ended up having to hold it instead of let it sit on me. And so, like, yeah, it was great. Once we got to the Nelson, and we were doing this outside, our professor was like, "Oh yeah, you guys have to go looking for peanuts." And we were like real peanuts. And he was like, "Yes, you have to find peanuts." And we were like, "Okay." So it was really quite the sight to behold. My history professor actually was watching us from inside the Nelson. And she said it was very funny to watch as 20 or so freshmen wandered blindly around the Nelson lawn in the rain, wearing quickly deteriorating sculptures made out of cardboard, trying to find peanuts. We also got yelled at a lot over the loudspeaker by the Nelson security, who told us to please keep our cardboard away from the sculptures on the lawn, which may be the strangest thing I've ever been told by a security guard. And I got yelled at a lot by security in that class. Security does not like art students or weird sculptures. Yeah. So, my last story is about the time that guy came and yelled at us for not doing art right. So, one day, again, this was close to the end of semester, well, in the first semester while we were working, we all left studio to go to lunch, and there was this guy who had like this weird bed frame and a sheet on it, and he was like holding a bunch of oil pastels and trying to get everyone to draw on it, and he would like get in your face and pressure you and be like, "No, you gotta do this, it's sure, do it." And we were like, okay, I guess. So like we would do like quick sketches, and he'd get really mad because he didn't want you to do sketches, he wanted you to full on finish it. He was like insulting people whose art and like yelling at them, and insulting people who were LGBT or had like colored hair and or looked punk. And I mean, why was he at an art school? Like, dude. And then he was like talking about how he was the only person ever to do social art, where you get random people together to make art, and like every single person who heard him either told him that we had a degree in social art, or that they told him that one of our friends was literally doing this exact same thing at a park a few blocks away. That got him really mad. So anyway, while this was happening, one of the girls took it upon herself to make signs that called him a jerk and like put them around him, warning people to avoid him. He still was yelling at people though, and he kept like telling us about God, and we were like, okay, no thanks. But anyway, eventually I got to the point where enough students complained, because he was like right outside of where we needed to go to get to the lunchroom, and that the school security got involved, and like the deans, and like they told him to leave campus, and he refused because he was technically not on campus. He was on the sidewalk outside of campus, but right in front of the crosswalks, and he kept refusing to leave. And so eventually they had to call the police, and the police came and said that he had to leave because this is still part of campus and he was disrupting students and passersby. So yeah, finally he leaves. He gets all his stuff and packs up and leaves, but then this was not the last that we heard of bedsheet guy. So I was walking to my art history class, and all of a sudden I see him again, and I like try to duck away, but he screams, "Hey!" And I panic and pull out my pepper spray, and I'm like terrifiedly holding it in my hand. I'm like, "Yeah?" And he screams, "Is there a local library anywhere near here?" And I'm like, I don't want him in our library, which is technically public, so I just say, no, sorry. And then he screams, "Don't say sorry. It makes people think you're a weaker person," before he like meandered off. And I was like, okay, thanks for the tip. So yeah, that was a really interesting experience. So yeah, those are a few of my interesting experiences at art school. So I think this piece is about done. Yep, there it is. So the next video will be Mulan, as chosen by patrons. If you want to have a say in the next few Digidoodles, please check out my Patreon, and where you will have access to these Digidoodles and others, and all kinds of other cool goodies. Please consider pledging to my Patreon to help me keep making these and keep me in school. A big thanks to all of my patrons so much. You guys are amazing. And everyone have a fantastic day. Bye!